Welcome to The Art of Social Media, a podcast by SocialPilot. We host in-depth discussions with world-leading social media marketing experts that will help you discover the techniques, strategies, and skills you need to use to grow your business using social media. Now, here's your host, Tejas Mehta.
Welcome to the Art of Social Media podcast. Today, we have with us Erik Huberman. Erik is the founder and CEO of Hawke Media, a full-service marketing agency and an outsourced CMO. Erik is also an investor, writer, and a podcast host. Erik, you've been doing a lot of things. Why don't you kind of tell me what you are, what you've been up to, what's your background story, like the origin story of a hero, right? Why don't you start with that?
Background, I graduated in '08 from college, went into real estate right before the entire economy collapsed, and literally by a week before Lehman Brothers went bankrupt, and started trying to figure out what to do next. And over the course of about 4 years, I built 3 e-commerce companies, sold 2 of them. And then in 2013, I started advising and consulting for a bunch of large and small businesses on how to drive revenue growth using marketing, and worked with Red Bull, Verizon, HP, a bunch of startups, and just ran into the same thing over and over again, which is when it came time for them to execute, the sort of marketing landscape was horrible. And so got sick of it, decided to hire my own little SWAT team, each with their own expertise. So like a Facebook marketer, an email marketer, web designer, a fractional CMO, et cetera. Went back to these companies and said, hey, everything's a la carte, month to month, cheaper than hiring in-house. But the idea is we can spin up what you need, when you need it, and then ebb and flow as your needs change. And so that's how we started. Fast forward, it's been 9 years. We're 250 people, run marketing we've grown about 4,500 brands at this point. We have a venture fund, as you mentioned. We're on our second fund. We've raised 25 to 50 million. We have a financing arm. We've got an AI platform that basically gives us more insight into marketing performance across thousands and thousands of brands than anyone else has. So been able to build this out over time into this robust marketing company that is Hawke Media.
Awesome. That's a lot of things that you've done since graduating in a very short time. How do you manage all this? Where do you get the time, man?
I don't sit around very much. I'm either very intentionally working or I'm very intentionally taking a break, but there's not much in between. So it's go, go, go.
Interesting. Talk to me more about Hawke Media. What does the agency do, and how is it different than the traditional agencies?
Yeah, so we take a few different things. One is we actually know how to grow businesses. So that eliminates 99% of them. Like, just being straight, like there's a ton of agencies out there that are like these little 5 and 10 person shops that never grow themselves, but claim they can grow other businesses. And they don't know what it actually takes to grow a business, like a real business. And so they sell services, but they don't actually understand growth. And so that eliminates most of the agencies out there. The few that are good tend to not want to work with small and medium businesses anymore. They're hard, they're less profitable, and they take a lot more time and a lot more hand-holding. They're a lot more tight. And so you get these businesses that, all start to compete. And so there's the better agencies are all competing for the Fortune 2000. And so what that means is everyone else is left to fend for themselves in these terrible agencies, unless you're lucky enough to find the diamond in the rough that's on their way to growth and on their way to performance. And it's a really rough ecosystem. And for us, we're now one of the bigger guys. We're one of the biggest independent agencies in the United States. And at the same time, we still work with small and medium businesses, and we still are very cost effective, nimble, flexible. And that was the idea, is like, can we bring Fortune 500 marketing to the masses? So we're month to month, a la carte, very easy to work with, but we're the best at what we do.
Interesting. You mentioned that 90% of agencies don't know what it takes to grow the business. What does it take to grow the business?
What does it take to grow the business? Well, what I'm saying is, like, understanding things like gross margins, profitability. Like, people can sell Facebook ads and talk about ROAS all day, return on ad spend, but that is such a bullshit metric that doesn't actually mean anything. My favorite thing is to see these like one-day windows where they're like, we spent $10 today and made the company $10,000. It's like, that $10,000 in revenue didn't come in today. It converted today, but those people have been in the pipeline. It has nothing to do with your advertising. Like, that's all bullshit. And so you see these things, and the sad truth is there's an audience for it too, but there's just a lot of snake oil salesmen. And I'd say probably 80% of them don't realize that they're selling snake oil, that they don't know what they're doing. They think that these are good numbers because they don't understand how that actually plays out over time. So it's the same thing where people are selling, doing retargeting ads on businesses, selling it as return on ad spend. And it's like, those are existing audience members. Those already were in their funnel. That doesn't mean you didn't help convert them, but thinking that that takes full credit for that sale is crazy. And just all these things that, again, there's a lot of nuance in marketing that most people don't understand. And so they go and try to sell shiny objects, and then, they don't, if it performs, they don't know why, and they don't know how to scale it. And if it doesn't perform, they don't know why, they don't know how to help. And everybody that runs a business has a horror story of working with an agency.
Interesting. Yeah. We've seen a lot of agencies not doing great, but there are a lot of genuine, interesting people in agency space as well who don't want to grow beyond 10 people. They're like the boutique marketing agencies. People really want to start in that direction as well. What is your advice to them? How do they grow to like bigger agencies? If there's a truly hardworking team, and they have like 5 people in the team, but they really want to grow, what is your advice to them? How do they go about it?
For number one, I mean, this is the thing is like, I get this asked all the time. Like, if you do good work, like actually know what you're doing, like it is very easy to start an agency. It is very hard to grow an agency if you're not doing good work. That's it. Like you're going to lose your clients. You're going to funnel through. Then you have to have an insane sales engine to make up for that. And that runs out at some point too. So like, if you're not doing good work, your clients aren't going to be successful. You're not going to keep them, and you're going to fizzle out. That's just part of it. And so number one is, before you start an agency, are you actually good at marketing? Because this is where like the sort of philosophical thing comes in. If you're selling people on hiring your agency and you're not the best at what you do, you're by nature scamming them. You're selling them a goods or service that you can't perform on, and they're better off not working with you. That's a scam to me. And there is a lot of that in the market. So you have to be real with yourself.
Interesting. Now, to be good at marketing, you have to be good at a lot of things, right? Like you mentioned, Facebook ads and email marketing and websites and stuff. A small agency cannot be good at everything at the start, right? Should they focus on one service and kind of track that and kind of go more on to the next one? What should be the strategy here?
I think it has to do with the founder. Like, what are you good at? Like, I was a CEO and a CMO. Like, I knew how to run marketing. So I started as a fractional CMO. Like, if it depends on where your talents are, where you're going to overserve your clients, and then go from there.
Got it. Interesting. A lot of smaller agencies, as you mentioned, tend to kind of overpromise and undersell, and they don't perform. How do clients kind of figure out that this agency is worth it, this agency is not worth it? Like, what is the filtering metric?
I'd say it's really hard for an uneducated client. If you know your stuff, you know how to grill a marketing team, that's easy. I'd say looking at what have they done? Like, what company have they taken from where you are to where you want to be? Because like, don't, if you want to win a Super Bowl, hire a team that's already been there. Like, don't try to like build it from scratch and be the test subject. I always see that. We're dealing with that right now with a company we're talking to, where they're like, we have this agency, we know they're not very good, but we're going to give them a shot. It's like, okay, so you're going to lose, you're going to waste time, you're going to waste money, you're going to be in a bad spot and scrambling. Like, this is not a smart move. And I hear that a lot. People like, we're just going to give it a shot. Like, think about it. Think about what you're trying to do. Like, manifest it, because like, you have no one to blame but yourself. Like, you've got to really do your diligence and make sure that the company that you're hiring has been there, done that, and can do it again. If not, why are you going to be their test subject? No reason to be.
Interesting. So go with the trusted sources and don't kind of take your chances.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense. How does Hawke Media market itself? Like, how do you acquire new clients?
It's a combination of a bunch of things. I mean, we have a great network and partnership arena, like so many like collaborative like ecosystem of partners. That's been a huge help. Prospecting and outbound, we're reaching out to people all the time. Inbound, we have advertisements running. We have, we host events, we attend things, we have a sales team, and then just a lot of word of mouth and referral and, people talking about us.
Interesting. If you were to start over again, start with a small agency, right? Without your own brand name, like without Erik Huberman's brand name, right? How would you start? How would you kind of market yourself?
How would I start an agency without my name?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have my name.
Everybody knows Hawke Media and Erik Huberman, right? If you were to start, like, let's say, for example, a new agency called Chicago Agency, right? How would you kind of market it?
Start with the ground game. Go meet people, talk to people. Like, people try to shortcut the hard work. For 9 years, I've been at 3 to 5 events a week. Like, get out there. That's the part that people are missing, is like, that's where you're going to get way more trust, way more efficacy. People need to see your face. Like, trying to just cold email to build a business. Like you'll get somewhere, but it's never going to be as effective.
Interesting. You talked about starting this agency back in 2013, where you were consulting a lot of clients. It's 2023, right?
Yeah.
In last 10 years, how has marketing landscape changed?
That's the funny thing is people always think marketing is like so rapid and everything's changing so fast. Like the past 10 years, everything's gotten a little more endemic in the sense of like everybody knows Facebook ads now, Google ads. Like back then, it was still kind of a new thing. Influencer marketing was new, et cetera. But now it's all accepted. But the tactics that were working for me back then are pretty much the same. TikTok is a new platform that's starting to perform. Snapchat is okay. Pinterest is okay. Like these are all other options. But Google, Facebook, Google and Meta, so Google, Facebook, Instagram are still the best core channels to drive growth online. They still work about the same. People just don't know how to measure them anymore. And that's been the biggest issue there. But we do. So we're doing fine there. And, it's going to be interesting to watch how ChatGPT changes like copy and creative and headlines and all that. But like any new invention, everybody over indexes as if it's going to be the next big disruptor. And it takes a long time to disrupt. Like, again, Facebook advertising started I think it was 2012. And we're now at 2023. And that's still probably the best social platform to advertise on. So yeah, things don't change as fast as people think they do.
Interesting. As you rightly mentioned, people think marketing is like pretty fast changing, but great observation. You mentioned that you kind of serve a lot of SMBs, like smaller organizations. How do they compete with like their bigger counterparts, bigger organizations on Facebook ads? They don't have that much budget, right? Similarly on Google.
You pay the same for impression that they do. So like you don't need to compete on budget. You just need to compete on being able to convert those impressions more effectively, which the big companies, it's so funny. Like I've stepped into a lot of multi-billion-dollar businesses that do not do things right. It is such a convoluted, like the way those bigger or organizations have to run, it's so convoluted. They can't be as efficient as and effective. It's kind of the David and Goliath story where it's like, if you're nimble and flexible and quick, it's easy to compete. And so that really actually is the opposite of the issue. Like I'd actually say that bigger organizations are wasting tons of money because of inefficiencies. Smaller businesses are able to be more efficient. The only thing that I'd say is hard to compete on is smaller businesses don't have the distribution. So they can't hit as wide of an audience because like if I'm Frito-Lay, I can advertise Doritos everywhere because you can buy them everywhere. If I'm a brand new chip company that's just selling direct to consumer, I can't necessarily go as wide with my impressions because I have to have people that are willing to buy online and buy snacks online versus go into any store and buy them. So it just changes the market.
The Art of Social Media is brought to you by SocialPilot. To find out more about SocialPilot and how we can give you everything you need to hit your social media marketing goals, visit socialpilot.co. And then make sure to search for The Art of Social Media in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click follow so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at SocialPilot, thanks for listening.